Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to release a Patreon exclusive video this week because of the trip I was making this weekend, but I did get a number of questions on if I was going to review the last installment of the Highlander series, the made-for-TV movie Highlander: The Source. I wasn't originally planning to because, let's face it, how can I ever follow up on something Spoony savaged so fiercely? But maybe I can do this, especially for you guys. Like I've said before, I was one of the few dozen people gullible enough to watch this movie when it first premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel, mainly because I was certain I heard somewhere that it would specifically show us all where the Immortals got their power from. Yeah, spoiler alert, it doesn't do that, so what does it do? Basically every single thing everyone who would watch it didn't want to see. So yeah, so much for my Patreon reviews in January being nothing but stuff I thought was good. After an opening exposition dump of info that 90% of the dozens that watched already knew, and a list of just how many production companies it took to actually make this thing, the movie begins proper in, of course, a post-apocalyptic world where society and order has completely broken down. Man, I would love to make a topical joke here, but I'm trying harder than ever to keep politics out of my reviews for my own sanity. Duncan MacLeod is here somewhere in Eastern Europe, pretending to be a gargoyle as he stalks his latest ex-girlfriend, this time a mortal named Anna. Okay, I was going to make a snarky comment about all these new love interests being a result of Amanda and her actress not wanting anything to do with the franchise anymore, but if what I've been told by viewers is accurate, there actually is a logical and kind of tragic reason Amanda was out. See, Elizabeth Grayson had a lot of problems going on at the time that Highlander the Raven was being made. Apparently her manager was a major conspiracy nut who convinced her, among other things, that her co-star Paul Johansson was a CIA operative. This was at the same time that Grayson was dodging subpoenas from Paula Jones's legal team since she had admitted to being another person Bill Clinton had an affair with. Given all that and how her paranoia of Johansson led to their terrible on-screen chemistry, it is understandable that Highlander executives wouldn't want anything to do with her anymore. That having been said, it's still incredibly lazy that they wouldn't even give an explanation for what happened to Amanda when they gave Duncan a new love interest in the next movie, and then they did the same thing when they give him another new one for this film. I mean, when Tessa died in the second season, it was a big moment in showing how tough it is for immortals to love, and Duncan had to deal with that pain for the rest of the series. Well, I guess he decided the best way to deal with it is to become the immortals' version of Barney Stinson. By the way, Christopher Lambert was supposedly offered the chance to be in this movie as well, I guess being resurrected in a way even dumber than Ramirez, but he was smart enough to turn it down, while Adrian Paul had to be bribed with a producer's credit to take part. So if the executives had just been a little bit stingier, this movie may never have gotten made. We were so close. Anyway, the only other immortal in this town is this kid named Saiji, who breaks into the CN Tower that has somehow been transported here from Canada, because he's in a rush to join a conference call with Mythos, some techno geek named Reggie in Washington, and this guy, who apparently is about to give up the Catholic priesthood to become an anime cosplayer. And they're all discussing how the entire universe appears to be collapsing in on itself.
Literally millions of celestial bodies from here to the central sun of our galaxy are lining up. In exactly 4 days, 3 hours, 47 minutes, the Earth is going to be bombarded with cosmic radiation.
I say we panic. Anyone else feel like panic? This seems like the best time to panic. Sai eventually gets to the computer on the top floor after getting shot by the guard, because I guess this is the only functioning computer in the entire city, and says he's found the location of the source, but his map got destroyed when he got shot, and he also explains that a creature called the Guardian has risen, and guess who now shows up? And that brings us to one of the dumbest fight scenes in the history of Highlander. Sai has no chance because the Guardian cheats thanks to a metal neck cone that blocks any sword, in addition to him also tapping into the Speed Force. And after a fight that will give you seizures if you don't already suffer from them, he kills Sai, and the quickening he gets from this one kid is apparently so strong that it causes the entire tower to explode. You know, it's really not too late to turn back and shut this thing off, you guys. I'm sure long-haired creepy guy has his latest Scooby-Doo video finished by now. The explosion draws Duncan to it, where he meets the Guardian, whose neck shield has just vanished. Yeah, I'll just assume it got destroyed in the explosion. Sure, that works. Trust me, I could make a list of how many plot elements in this movie have no explanation, and it would probably rival Quest for Camelot. Okay, am I watching a Highlander movie or Dungeons and Dragons? Duncan is about to get his ass handed to him, but Joe Dawson shows up, rams the Guardian like a Looney Tunes villain, and then abducts Duncan. Yes, Mythos did tell Joe to find McCloud, but why was Joe in the same city to begin with? Apparently after the Watchers organization dissolved, and I guess Joe's bar got torpedoed figuratively or literally, he just happened to turn up into the same war-ravaged city as everyone else.
You're fine. Go ahead. Go back and let that thing kill you. What do you have to live for anyway?
He mentioned Anna.
Mythos and others don't think it's bullshit. They're looking for the source.
So everyone converged on the temple of some cult that separated itself from the Catholic Church or something. And by now you've certainly seen another thing about this movie that quite literally glares at you. The lighting is god-awful. Every other scene is done with some glaring different color filter, as if the cinematographer got a brand new lighting program for Christmas and just had to show it off for this particular movie. Although to be fair, I don't think I'd want to see this thing in good light anyway. According to the Elder, all of this happened thousands of years before, when the world was previously in chaos, the planets were aligning again, and a group of immortals went seeking the source. One of them defeated the guardian of the source, but in doing so, became cursed to become his replacement.
Can you tell us the way to the source?
You should ask her. She's already seen the way.
Okay, I know there's a lot of stuff that isn't explained in this movie, but to me, this is probably the biggest. Forget the fact that Anna is suddenly a new squeeze of Duncan's just to give him a reason to join this quest and thus have any reason for him to be in this movie. Why would a mortal woman be the key to locating the supposed Holy Grail for immortals? Oh, there is a reason why Duncan needs a mortal girlfriend in this movie, and we'll get to that. But without giving it away just yet, that necessity for this character creates a plot hole so huge that every single planet that's currently converging on the Earth could be sucked into. It's gotta be bigger than the one the Nostalgia Critic was trapped in. And that just underlines the whole plot in general. This entire movie is mapped out like a bad RPG. We have an apocalyptic setting in a vague location with important buildings and other plot points in unexplained places, all to get a group of people together to go questing for some treasure for eternal peace or some bullcrap, with a MacGuffin in the form of a human that's absolutely necessary to showing these people where they need to go. Square Enix would laugh out the basis for a game plot like this. Oh, and the Guardian is not against fighting on holy ground and nothing happens as a result of it, so I guess that whole Vesuvius thing wasn't the Immortals' fault after all, and that rule was bullcrap. I wonder if that's going to be the case for anything else. And the fight ends with the Guardian breaking Duncan's katana and killing Joe, essentially destroying every single thing at this point that was associated with Highlander, and we're not even halfway through!
Anna, you want me to bury you next to Joe?
I was chosen for this. And so were you.
Anna, this doesn't make sense.
Truer words were never spoken! I'm gonna try and zip through most of what comes next, because if this movie is a bad RPG, this is the level grinding part. They determine through Anna and Reggie's computer that the planet's convergence will be aligned at an island in Central Europe, so they somehow charter a boat to take them there, fight an army of cannibals. We get a horrible cover of Princes of the Universe that likely enraged Queen fans even more than AC/DC fans who can't get their band songs on iTunes. They somehow get a perfectly new BMW SUV to drive them into what looks like the Forest of the Blair Witch. The Guardian slices up Reggie like a turbo Ginsu while he's standing guard to prove that they are all in fact losing their immortality by getting closer to the source. Oh yeah, the Elder said that would happen. They get captured by more cannibals, and then the Guardian shows up to just take Anna. Crazy-haired Catholic guy betrays the others and naturally gets killed for it. Then Mythos bails on Duncan because apparently, guess what? Duncan was destined to be the only one. Yeah, we're getting there.
Duncan, I knew you would come.
Come on. Come on.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I saw this boss battle in one version of the Baldur's Gate video game. You know, it just dawned on me. If the Guardian's purpose is to actually guard the source like he's ultimately doing now, why did he leave his post to go hunt down Duncan and the other immortals? I mean, if there had been another party that went after the source and got to the location while he was playing cat and mouse with Duncan and company, there would supposedly be nothing stopping them from getting it. He should be glad no one else thought to go questing, because I don't think he thought this thing through. So after the source gives Duncan Super Saiyan form and one fight scene that looks like if The Legend of Zelda was made by Chuck Jones, Duncan has the Guardian at his mercy, and he refuses to kill him. And guess what? This is what allows him to claim the prize.
The immortals believed that there could be only one, that all had to die for that one to remain. But the source wasn't about death. It was about life.
Yep. This is what it was all leading up to. The game wasn't about kill every immortal until one survives and that one will become the most powerful being on Earth. It was be the only one willing to finally give up fighting, even though we'd seen plenty of immortals trying to give up fighting beforehand. And the source will grant you your greatest wish like it's the freaking Triforce. Remember, I actually liked the notion of Duncan MacLeod and other immortals who didn't want to be part of the game and hoped that they would be ultimately rewarded for refusing to take part. But good freaking night, this is so ham-fisted and saccharine that it would give even me diabetes. Oh, and Duncan's wish is to have a child with Anna. Hey, good luck raising that kid in freaking dystopia. Do you want to know the capper to all of this? This was supposedly going to be the first movie of a trilogy. Yeah. They set the thing at pretty much the end of the world. They get rid of almost everything that had been associated with the Highlander series, including a reveal that the whole purpose of the game was a lie from the beginning, and they expected this to be the start of a whole new series. Even as someone who's not a die-hard fan of Highlander, someone who had never seen the original movie until this month, January 2017, I I can see how this was the most piss-poor, thought-out idea for a movie right up until jamming the holograms. And of course, it didn't work because so few people watched it that it died a quick, uncaring death, and we never saw anything from Highlander again. Well, up until an anime was released in 2011, and maybe I'll get to that one day. But for now, I'm off to San Antonio for the Royal Rumble, safe in the knowledge that not even WWE's lackluster booking right now will F up the principle of there can be only one more than this movie did. See you guys next time!